Greetings, my dear viewer. You're on the channel The Price of Cheating. The channel is for those who appreciate traditional family values and condemn adultery. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. The morning air was crisp, carrying with it a hint of new beginnings, though for me, it only underscored the fractures in my world. Another day loomed ahead, heavy with the shadows of my faltering marriage. The night before had been another step in the unraveling of what Linda and I had built over the past 12 years. This time, she had brought up her plans to go on a date. Yes, she used that word, with another man. Not as a fleeting suggestion, but with a deliberateness that made it sting even more. It felt as though the foundation of our life together had been rewritten without my consent. Her intentions were crystal clear. This wasn't about us, it was entirely about her. Standing in the doorway with arms crossed, I listened as she laid out her reasoning with the casualness of someone justifying an extravagant purchase. She insisted she deserved this, a chance to feel alive again, to recapture the excitement of forbidden territory. I didn't argue. What point was there? Her mind had been made long before she started talking. "You're okay with this, aren't you, Ron?" she asked, her voice a strange mix of hope and hesitation. Her eyes locked onto mine, searching for approval. I let the silence stretch, finally replying in an even tone. "Linda, you've already decided. I can't stop you. You're your own person." She blinked, momentarily thrown by my calmness. After a beat, I added, "Of course I mind. But I know you. When you've made up your mind, nothing changes it. What choice do I have?" Her shoulders eased, almost as if my words had validated her decision. "I love you, Ron," she said softly, a faint smile forming. "I'll make it up to you. You'll see." My jaw tightened. "So you know it's wrong then?" I asked quietly. Her brow furrowed. "What do you mean by that? Do you think our parents would be okay with this? What you're doing?" My voice was steady, cutting through the growing tension. Linda didn't answer. Her gaze fell, and the silence between us grew heavier. I leaned in closer, lowering my voice. "You know it's wrong, Linda. You just don't want to admit it." She fumbled for a response, her tone defensive. "But you said I could do it, Ron." I shook my head firmly. "No, I didn't. I said I can't stop you. That's not the same as agreeing to it." The weight of my words settled between us, undeniable. Her posture shifted, her arms crossing in defiance. "I thought you'd understand." "I do understand," I said, my tone cutting but calm. "I understand you're searching for something new, something thrilling. What I don't understand is why it has to come at the cost of us. Why you'd choose someone else over me." Her silence was deafening. Finally, I asked, "By the way, what's his name?" "It doesn't matter," she muttered, barely audible. I let out a bitter laugh. "It matters, Linda. Whoever he is, he's going to change everything." After a pause, I added, "Just know this. I don't want you to go, but this date, it won't come without consequences." "What kind of consequences?" she asked hesitantly. "You're not just beautiful, Linda, you're smart. You've always been smart, and I've told you that 1,000 times," I said, my eyes narrowing. "But intelligence means being responsible for what happens because of your choices." Her face hardened, defensive. "You're bluffing. You love me. You've always given me what I wanted." I stayed composed, my voice steady. "I can't stop you from making a mistake, Linda, but I can warn you. This time, you're on your own." With that, I grabbed my keys and left the room before she could respond. By Thursday evening, I made a decision. As Linda prepared for her night out, I quietly packed my things and moved into the guest room. She caught me midway, disbelief dripping from her voice. "What are you doing, Ron?" "Moving out of our bedroom," I replied coolly, not looking up. Her tone fluctuated between anger and mockery. "Are you seriously throwing a tantrum?" I ignored her, focusing on hanging my clothes in the guest room closet. My silence spoke louder than any argument. The next morning, I woke early, determined to reclaim a shred of control. I treated myself to a visit to a high-end salon, where I got a fresh haircut and beard trim, even indulging in a manicure. At a nearby clothing store, I picked out a sharp navy blazer, a crisp white shirt, and tailored trousers. I wasn't going to look like the man who passively waited for life to happen anymore. Later, I cleaned my car until it gleamed, a reflection of the person I intended to become, someone ready to face the fallout of Linda's choices. When I returned home, she was descending the stairs in a tight black dress I'd never seen before, a bold statement of her intentions. She paused, clearly waiting for a reaction. I gave her none, my expression unreadable. "Damn it, Ron," she said, frustration mingled with desperation. "You look good. Where are you going?" "Out," I replied flatly. "Out where?" she pressed. "Just out. Did you expect me to sit here while you meet him?" I shook my head slowly, my gaze sharp. "I thought you were smarter than this." Her face flushed, but she held her composure. "Fine, I'm going. Don't let your ego ruin this." I allowed myself a faint smile, opening the garage door. "Don't worry about me, Linda. Just remember, there are always consequences." Without another word, she left, her car disappearing down the road. I grabbed my own keys. I wasn't going to sit idle, watching life pass me by. Over the past few months, I'd grown close to Ava, a kind and understanding colleague. That evening, we met at a cozy wine bar, its soft lighting and smooth jazz creating the perfect atmosphere for the kind of effortless conversation we'd always shared. The instant Ava greeted me, her smile carried a warmth that felt like sunshine breaking through clouds. Her sparkling eyes didn't just look at me, they seemed to truly see me. We chose a simple meal, accompanied by a bottle of wine, and before long the conversation flowed effortlessly, as though we were old friends reconnecting. Ava was different from anyone I'd ever known. She laughed at my quirks in a way Linda never had. We traded stories, moved with the quiet rhythm of the music in the background, and let our gazes linger in moments that felt anything but ordinary. This wasn't about erasing Linda, it was about finding pieces of myself again. When I dropped Ava off at her place around 10, she leaned in close, her lips brushing softly against my cheek, leaving behind a warmth I hadn't felt in ages. "Go get her, Ron," she said playfully, her smile equal parts gentle and teasing. When I returned home, Linda was already there, still dressed from her night out. Her wide eyes revealed a mix of surprise and suspicion. "Where were you?" she demanded, her tone sharp. I shrugged off my blazer and hung it on a chair. "That's none of your business," I said flatly, her face twisted with frustration. "What do you mean, none of my business? You left without a word." I let out a dry chuckle. "And did you tell me where you were going tonight, Linda?" She froze for a moment before anger surged to the surface. Should I ask if she used protection, or should I just stop caring altogether? "Because I'll never touch you again. Honestly, it doesn't matter to me what you did or who you were with." Her voice cracked under the weight of disbelief as her mouth trembled. "Who is she?" "Her name's Ava," I replied, keeping my voice calm. "And if you think marriage is about dressing up for someone else, I figured I'd see how it felt to do the same. The only difference is, I'm upfront enough to tell you her name." Her expression crumbled as tears filled her eyes. "You're just trying to hurt me, aren't you? You want me to feel jealous?" Her voice wavered, trembling. I shrugged again, my tone detached. "I'm just giving you the honesty you've given me." The tears broke free, leaving dark streaks down her cheeks. "Ron, I'm sorry," she whispered, her voice breaking into sobs. "I never thought it would come to this." I shook my head, the weight of disappointment sinking into my chest. "I warned you, Linda. Every choice has consequences." Her sobs grew louder, her body trembling with the force of her emotions. For a fleeting moment, regret flickered within me, but it was drowned out by the realization that the trust between us was irreparably shattered. Her voice barely rose above a whisper. "What happens now?" I exhaled deeply, letting the silence stretch before answering. "Now you figure out what you want, and I'll do the same. Tomorrow morning I'll call a lawyer. We'll divide everything and move on." Her muffled cries followed me as I climbed the stairs to the guest room. There was nothing left to say. The night had drawn a hard line in the sand, and crossing back was no longer an option. The next morning, sunlight seeped through the guest room curtains, pulling me from restless sleep. The events of the previous night felt fresh, vivid, and inescapable. I knew I had to move forward, though anger still churned beneath the surface, fueling my resolve. I reached for my phone and called Jason, an old college buddy and trusted attorney. Scheduling an urgent meeting with him felt like the first tangible step toward reclaiming control. After a quick shower, I dressed in jeans and a crisp shirt, ready to face what lay ahead. Downstairs, Linda sat at the kitchen table, her face pale and exhausted from a sleepless night. Her swollen, red-rimmed eyes met mine as I entered. "Ron," she said hesitantly, her voice shaky, "can we talk?" I smirked faintly, though there was no humor in it. "Go ahead, Linda. What do you want to say?" She bit her lip nervously. I'm sorry about last night. I shouldn't have gone out. It was stupid, and I never meant to hurt you." "Didn't mean to hurt me?" I echoed coldly. "Linda, you made a deliberate choice. You decided that whatever you were chasing mattered more than us." Her shoulders slumped, and fresh tears filled her eyes. "I thought I wanted something different," she said, her voice cracking. "But I was wrong. Please, Ron, give me another chance." I shook my head, my tone unwavering. "Another chance? Do you really think I'm that naive?" Without waiting for her response, I turned and walked out the door. There was no point in prolonging the conversation. At Jason's office, I laid out everything, the betrayal, the fallout, and my decision to move on. He listened carefully before nodding. "If you're certain we can start the process today, we'll file the necessary paperwork, and if she challenges it, we'll escalate." "Do it," I said firmly. Each signature felt like another piece of closure being carved into stone. When I left the office, an unexpected sense of liberation mingled with lingering anger. This wasn't just about ending a marriage, it was about making sure Linda understood the full weight of her actions. One more call was needed, to Jake, a longtime friend with a talent for delivering messages that couldn't be ignored. Over coffee at a diner on the outskirts of town, I explained the situation, outlining the target. Kevin South, the man Linda had chosen over our vows. Jake smirked, leaning back in his chair. "I'll handle it," he said simply. "No one crosses you, Ron. Not without consequences." By the time I got back home, the afternoon sunlight was fading. Linda was still at the kitchen table, her phone resting idly in her hand. When she looked up at me, a flicker of hope crossed her face. "Ron," she said softly, "where have you been?" "We need to talk," she said, her voice trembling with apprehension. I glanced at her briefly, then shook my head with finality. "No, Linda," I replied, my tone resolute. "I've said everything I needed to. My lawyer will handle the rest." Her complexion turned pale as she stood unsteadily, gripping the table for support. "You're serious? You're really divorcing me?" Her voice quivered, caught between disbelief and desperation. I gave her a measured, icy smile. "Yes," I said firmly, "and there's more." Her face twisted in confusion, her eyes searching mine for answers. "What do you mean by that?" she asked, her voice sharp with unease. Ignoring her question, I stepped past her, snatching my keys from the counter. "You'll find out soon enough," I said coolly, leaving no room for debate. That night, I parked a few blocks away from Kevin South's apartment complex. I needed to see it with my own eyes. It didn't take long. Jake and his crew were efficient. Kevin's car sat in the parking lot, or what remained of it. Shattered glass littered the ground, the tires were slashed, and the paint was scraped away in jagged streaks. But the interior was the true masterpiece. Every surface was coated with an unholy mix of glue, baby powder, and other grotesque materials. It was clear that Kevin wouldn't be driving anywhere for a long time. From my vantage point, I watched as he emerged from the building. His confident stride faltered when he saw the wreckage. He froze, his jaw slack, his face a mask of disbelief. I saw his expression shift from shock to anger as he fumbled for his phone, no doubt to call the police. But I wasn't concerned. Jake's team was meticulous, leaving no evidence to trace back to me. As Kevin seethed, a wave of satisfaction washed over me. This was only the beginning. The following morning, I woke early to pack the last of my belongings. Linda was still asleep, her face blotchy and swollen from hours of crying. I didn't bother waking her. Instead, I left the signed divorce papers on the kitchen counter with a simple note: "You wanted freedom. Here it is." I loaded my suitcase into the car and drove to Ava's apartment. She had kindly offered me a spare room while I sorted everything out, a gesture I genuinely appreciated. But this wasn't about moving forward just yet. It was about making sure Linda grasped the weight of her decisions. By the time she woke up, my lawyer's formal notice would already be in her inbox. Later that morning, my phone buzzed incessantly with her calls. I let everyone go to voicemail. I was done listening to her pleas. By midday, Eva texted me. "Linda's here. Should I let her in?" My response was blunt. No. Linda needed to face the consequences of her actions. Manipulation wasn't going to save her this time. Choices have repercussions, and she had made hers. Over the next week, the divorce process moved swiftly. Linda tried to push back, bombarding me with calls, texts, and even showing up at my office. I had anticipated her desperation. My lawyer, unflinching and precise, ensured that she wouldn't get more than she deserved. The house lease was set to expire soon, forcing her to find a new place to live. I felt no obligation to help. One day, I spotted her near my car in the office parking lot. She stood there, her face streaked with tears, clutching her coat tightly against the wind. I walked past her without a glance. "Ron!" she called out, her voice cracking. "I was wrong. I see that now. Please, I'm begging you." I stopped and turned to face her. Her eyes, swollen and red, met mine with a pleading intensity. "Linda," I said evenly, "this is over. You made your choices and I'm making mine. There's no going back." Her knees buckled, and she sank to the ground, sobbing. I felt no urge to comfort her. The memories of betrayal and deceit burned brightly, dousing any lingering regret. Without another word, I walked away, leaving her behind. Eva and I continued our casual relationship for a time, a mutual solace amidst the chaos. But it became clear that we were heading in different directions, and we parted on amicable terms. Eventually, I found a small townhouse near my workplace, a fresh start that symbolized my independence. Months later, I met Sophie at the gym. She was a revelation, strong, confident, and loyal in ways I hadn't experienced in years. As we grew closer, I felt a deep, genuine happiness return to my life. Our connection was built on honesty, free from the lies and betrayals of my past. Linda, I heard, moved out of state not long after. She disappeared from my life entirely. Kevin didn't fare much better. The vandalized car was only the start. Rumors about his personal life swirled at work, eventually forcing his resignation. He left town as well, seeking a fresh start far from his tarnished reputation. As for me, I learned that love isn't only about what you give, it's also about knowing when to let go. Healing came through reclaiming my life and ensuring those who wronged me faced the weight of their choices. In the end, I rediscovered myself, and that was the greatest victory of all. This concludes the story. If you like it, then put your powerful like and subscribe to the channel.